the official stripes of going against the grain. ProMark.
Hey, welcome back to the Drum Rundown. I'm Jarrad James, and I'm sitting here with Jerry Pentecost of Old Crow Medicine Show. Thanks for having us, man.
Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Well, we're here at Ground Zero for Old Crow Medicine Show, Hartland Studios.
That's right.
We're here in your personal little space, which is super cool.
Yeah.
This is where you recorded the last record, Paint This Town.
Yeah.
Talk to me about
room.
recording in this room, man.
Yeah, it's so to record in a live band sense and not be in the same room with everyone in like a full tracking room, it was a little bit touch and go at first, but like, I mean, there were points where I was topless in here. Like it was basically like having luxury to yourself. You got couches, so, but no, the drums sounded great. We needed the separation. I think this is one of the few Old Crow albums that feature like an entire drum set. They've had drummers on records before, but I think there's drums on just about every single track, maybe except Kill Over and Die. So,
okay, cool.
So yeah.
And was this your setup?
That didn't even make the record, actually. I'm thinking of the session, but yeah. But so yeah, this was I used a different kit, but this is the kit that we've been touring out on the road in support of the record, and yeah, it's been my ride.
Cool. This is awesome. It's a beautiful kit. Rogers.
Yeah.
Talk to me about this finish, man. It's beautiful.
Yeah. So Rogers is in the middle of like a resurrection right now. This is a blue Onyx Cleveland series, which is a 5-ply, and it's got the reinforcement rings. It sounds just like the old Rogers. It, like, in my personal opinion, it plays better. So because I was taking out an old school 60s Rogers before this. But yeah, so big shout out to Drum Paradise and Harry and Jim at Rogers, because I reached out to them for another kit, and they somehow or another I ended up with this, and I didn't want to let it go.
Yeah, it's beautiful. So talk to me about the construction. You said it's 5-ply.
Yeah, 5-ply maple. And then it's got the reinforcement rings, and then I for me personally, like, I think not to jump away from the kit, but I've been using these Evans Onyx heads on the toms and the bass drum, and I think me personally, like, that's what works best with my style.
Yes.
Gives you a lot of initial attack with very limited sustain.
Okay.
So, yeah.
How did you get to the Evans Onyx? How did you come across those? These are very, very cool.
Yeah, you don't really see them in stores, so I'm like a nerd when it comes to that kind of stuff. I got online and I was looking. I've been playing Emperors for years, and I was like, there's got to be, even with the Emperors, like, I used to carry a roll of gaff tape with me, and I'd load it up, like, just to tame them down a little bit, and I was like, man, there's got to be something else out there. And I've been with ProMark for 5-6 years, I think, and I was like, all right, well, like, ProMark and Evans, they're owned by Diodario. We use Diodario strings, like, like, there seems to be a lot of overlap here. So I reached out to my guy Aaron, and I was like, hey man, like, can I try some Evans heads? And so he sent me a bunch, and I actually ended up using some UV2s on the album.
Okay.
So on the kit that I played, and then I found out about these later and realized that I like the UV2s for recording. These work really well for recording too, but they really they sound super crystal clear in my mix, in my ears. So.
Yeah, and the hydraulic snare drum head, is that a part of the same series? Is that a different?
So these all kind of came together at once. I was just trying different combinations. I was basically in here with, this is my first record with Old Crow, and I've been with them since 2019, but like, there was a lot of thought on my part going into this record. Imagine being a drummer for a string band, you know? So like and mentally I'm like trying to figure out, you know, like my placement and sound and style. And so I put a lot of thought, and I mean, I was playing a 12-inch tom at one point and a 14-inch floor tom, you know, at multiple times throughout the record. I just played kick, snare, and hi-hat, you know, and then there were times where I just played the snare drum, you know. So it was really about finding out. But I think from the minute I put the hydraulic on the snare drum, I was like, this is the head that I like. And they you know, they do it in a red coating and a blue coating. Yeah. So, but the black one for me, for some odd reason, it has the better sustain, and then it also matches with the Onyx. So
yeah, it's beautiful. I mean, and it matches this finish on this Rogers really awesome.
I was playing a white marine pearl Rogers a couple weeks ago just to test drive it, and the white marine pearl with the black heads was like, that's like a Cadillac with white walls on it. You know what I mean?
That's So talk to me about the drum tom sizes that you have at this setup right now.
So right now this is a 1422 9x13 rack and a 16x16 floor tom. Pretty traditional sizes for you know, like classic drums. You know, you'll find that in your old school Slingerlands, Rogers, Ludwigs. I mean, that's a pretty, I think, big beat-esque kind of sound, you know, like you can get some heavy tones. So, but ultimately, like I like the diversity of having a smaller kick drum, you know, like not an 18x22, but a 14, like a shallower. So you just get more punch. So like I said, I'm initially always just going for that attack because, you know, like we move fast in this band. So, and you can't really let overtones cut in a way like the fiddle needs to cut, the banjo needs to cut. There's so many other things that are way more important than the drums, you know, like once again, being in the string band. So,
yeah. And I was going to talk to you about that because it must be crazy being a bluegrass drummer. Yeah. That's kind of like an oxymoron in a way with the string music.
Because, you know, like, because a bluegrass drummer is, it's somebody who said it's hard. You have to be pretty damn. Can you cuss on this thing?
Yeah, why not?
Okay, you have to be pretty damn good. I already said it. You have to be pretty damn good. Third time, to be better than no drummer at all, and that's basically like the bluegrass world, you know. So, so like I think you know, like what's really funny is it's not so much about the drums and everything. It's really about how fast can you play a train beat on the snare drum. Well, like if you can do that, then you can play with any bluegrass group, and like they're gonna play probably the same thing over and over and over and over, and it'll just be different changes. It won't seem the same to you, but your job is just to keep up speed-wise. Right. So and
you're one of the best in the game. When I first moved to Nashville, I saw you on Broadway.
Oh shit!
And you were laying down the train beat, and I was just like, this dude is nasty with this train beat. And you played it. You know, you were doing like a Broadway gig, so it was hours and hours and hours, and you just were locked in. And then the last time I saw you play was at Red Rocks.
Oh, yeah.
So I got
probably still doing that same train beat, never stopping, never taking a break. Yeah.
But I was really impressed with the dynamics that you were just talking about with like bringing drums to string music and kind of doing your thing with Outtro.
Yeah.
In trying to like kind of keep the bluegrass people happy, but also kind of being in a bigger, almost like a rock band.
Yeah.
Like how do you find balance?
That's kind of what we talked about. Like the live show itself is like, it seems like it's catered more towards like a rock show, you know, like we're jumping off risers and, you know, like there's a point where I spin the washboard around my neck. Like it's, you know, like we get pretty energetic out there. And I think the balance is really, really simple to me as far as, you know, like it was kind of nerve-wracking at first, but once I figured out, like, you just need to blend, you know, like it's not about me. The show's not about me. It's about all six of us. And like, you know, like kind of knowing where your placement is in that song or in that part of the set. You know, there's times where we feature everybody throughout the show. So yeah, I just, you know, like I felt like I needed to focus on the tones, and we're in a situation where less is more. Yeah. So as you see, like I'm playing a very minimal, like the tambourine is pretty new just because we have that tune, Brand New Mississippi Flag, that I wanted to, instead of bring out a sampler, which I don't know if we'll ever quite get to, but I got one whenever we're ready. And it's Elisa's, it's really awesome strike pad. Yeah, like I wanted to have that. Like I play, you know, like a tambourine on the offbeats on that song, cowbell for Paint This Town, you know. But before that, I mean, I really was just playing hi-hat ride and snare and floor tom, occasional rat from here to there.
Yeah.
So
cool. And let's talk about cymbals. I see you've got the K's up.
Yeah.
What do we got here with the hi-hats?
So I haven't played, man, I'm a butthead. I haven't played a match pair of hi-hats in like 10 years. So I got a K Sweet on the top and then a K Light on the bottom, both 15. So 15-inch hi-hats. And I went to Forks Drum Closet, shout out to them. And I played hi-hats just for like 2 hours, just mixing and matching because, you know, like I said, I guess I'm always searching for something different. I wanted trashy at that time, was just playing ride and hi-hat. So I wanted something trashy enough that you could crash on, but then also, you know, something light enough that that it didn't get in the way when you were just playing when you're playing a pocket.
Back to those dynamics you're trying to
you're exactly. Like you're always trying to blend, never trying to, you know, cut. I feel like that's kind of rule number one, you know, just trying to serve the music. And so, and when people, you know, I mean, my least favorite phrase is give the drummer some, because I never want to do a drum solo ever. But, you know, like when people are like, all right, now you go, like, then, you know, like maybe not turn it up to 11, but maybe turn it up to like 10 and a half and, you know, like hit some cymbals and stuff. But yeah.
Cool. And the crash is new?
Well, new as in like, I got this in 2018. And I think that was when I had signed my deal with Zildjian. So I've been with Zildjian since 2018. Okay. So this is a 19-inch Kerope. I think that's how you say it. I've heard people say Kerope.
Tell us in the comments.
You please, like somebody, Eric, anybody from Zildjian, somebody text me and let me know. So, but that's how I've always said it. 19 Kerope. And then this ride cymbal, I based the whole setup on that. And you can see that's like blood on there, lots of sweat, lots of happy tears, but mostly sweat. 22K light ride. I think the K series, they just, I mean, I can say blend over and over and over and over again, because like that's just part of the, you know, like being in a band, you know, like, and once again, because we're a country band and not a rock band, you know, like you don't really need cymbals that cut, you need cymbals that blend. So, and it goes back to the same thing with the drums. I like cymbals that don't sustain very long, you know, like you hit them, they're explosive, and then they die down really, really quickly. So, and then these are like, you can bend these cymbals because they're that light and, you know, like flexible. So like the thinner, then, you know, like the less decay, like there's a whole, you know, I basically could work at any music because I'm that big of a dork. Any of these companies, I could go and be like, let me get a job on the line, because trying to Air Jordans are expensive for twins. So.
Awesome. Well, playing with these cymbals that have so much give, I mean, I would destroy these in like one set.
Oh yeah. I didn't get K's until I was in my like 30s.
You got to be like refined to do that.
I was definitely. I had this ride for really. I got this ride in like 2010, I think, off of eBay, but like I was using an A projection crash for the longest. I was like, give me the meatiest crash, because, you know, like I'm just going to be twirling and like slamming on this guy. I mean, I've calmed down a considerable amount for anybody who's been watching me play for a long time. So
that's good. Did it inform your stick choice, and have you changed your sticks?
You know what? I was using a heavier model than these. These are probably somewhere right a little bit wider or a little heavier than a 5A. Okay. And I was playing 5Bs for a really, really long time. And I noticed, like, I got small hands, I got long fingers but small hands, and so like I felt like I needed to make some adjustments. And then that's also around the time when I started playing ProMark. So I just went to Forks. Used to be like my, you know, like my home zone for like, oh, I'm gonna try out something new. Like I know all those dudes that used to work at Sam Ash with Danny way back in the day. So it was like, I'm gonna go there and just try some. And I played these years ago when I first started playing, but I used to shred them. So I was like, I can't, you know, I played 7/8 for a long time. I used to break those like, I'd say one every other song. So I'm excited to be moving on from that period where like I think I've learned how to hit the cymbals and, you know, like be a little bit more assertive on the drums to where I'm just not destroying everything anymore. It's fun to break stuff. Oh yeah. Don't get me wrong, because I love to do it. And then you get that bill when you got to replace it. So
Speaking of breaking stuff,
Yeah.
hardware, what do you got holding all this stuff up together?
My first kit was a Tama Rockstar or Tama Swingstar, and then my second kit was a Tama Rockstar, and so like I've had these stands actually for quite some time, and they're battle tested, you know, like I'm not prying them open with my leg. Like you'll see a lot of markings on them, and that's just over the years. Like I've changed where I used to sit really low, and now I kind of sit high. I'm 6'2.5", so you're a tall dude, so you get that.
Yep.
Yeah, like I've kind of changed some stuff around, but yeah, this Tama, and then this is a Ludwig hi-hat stand, but I'm working on something with Gibraltar right now, so this will potentially I'll change maybe soon. But basically these three stands is what I've been taking out for like the last 5 years.
Cool. And kick pedal?
Kick pedal is a Pearl Speed Demon pedal, and I've tried a bunch of kick pedals. I've tried the DWs. I've played Iron Cobra for years.
Oh, same.
And there was something about this that the adjustments are much easier. You know, I lost the hammer pedal. It kind of comes with like what the Tama comes with, but I lost it that does all the, you know, the changes, but it's just an Allen wrench, you know, like thing. So it's really not that special, and I think it's like $40 to replace it. I was like, but being that it's like one of the few things that I actually really, really like from Pearl, no offense, I like this pedal just moves. It glides really, really well. Cool. So, but it's also really expensive, which is why I only have one and not two.
Yeah.
So.
And I see marking tape on the rug.
Yeah.
Is that kind of how you keep everything ergonomic show to show? I know you're about to crush 95 shows this year, so you got to be able to have consistency every night. How do you get there?
The key is, you know, like you just said, consistency. Like the tape helps not only me because, you know, like if you're playing a festival and people are sliding your kit around on a riser, you know, stuff's bound to change. There's multiple times where I do get up on the riser and I'll play the toms with mallets or something like that. Stuff shifts throughout the show. So like it kind of helps me see. But as you can see, even though we're not on a riser, like I tinker every show, you know, like as far as getting comfortable. One butt cheek might just feel different than the other one when you sit down. And so you just need to like shift and like find your balance. I typically naturally like sling to the right anyway, so I don't know what that's all about. Lefty righty,
maybe
it's all to you.
Cool, man. Let's talk about this snare drum. What do we got?
Yeah, man, this has kind of been the centerpiece for everything, and Jojo, our front of house, has been like really, really helpful with me, like getting the sounds, and you know, like he's kind of my ears outside of, you know, like what I'm hearing in my monitors. So this is a Hard Knock Drums 3-ply Canadian maple snare drum. I think they're out of Halifax. So shout out to Serge and Tim for setting me up. My buddy Robbie Crow, I don't know if y'all know him, he plays drums in Midland. He had one, and he's from out there, and he was like, yeah, you got to check it out. And in the pandemic, I borrowed it, and I never really gave it back. Like I liked it that much. So he connected me with the guy, and then I was like, well, you got to let me hold on to it for a little bit longer so I can A/B him, and this one's much better. So, and it's got my initials in it and everything. It's got like this cool veneer on the outside, and then you know, so the hydraulic head. But yeah, like this is, I don't know, it's something about it that, you know, like I'm, you know, going back to the tones, like there's not a lot of overtone, which I like, and I got some moon gel on there to kind of tame it down a little bit. But yeah, like it's, you know, like it's not super beefy. It kind of has a little bit of everything. It gives you, you know, like your super tight crack, and then, you know, like it gives you a little bit of meat as well, which is like perfect for like the blend of this particular, you know, like style of music.
Yeah, it's a nice deep snare drum. Do you do anything interesting on the resonant head?
No, it's just a hazy 300 hazy. Evans. Cool. So yeah, so I'm basically using, I think it's the resonant Evans 7 maybe on the bottoms. Like I tried coated head. I found I like coated head, especially for the floor tom, because like that sucks up some of that overtone as well. I go back and forth between that and the G1 on the rack tom, just because sometimes you don't get that super punch that you want.
Yeah. So
especially like the bigger tom you get, you know, like the more ring you're gonna get. So, but you know, like really, you this snare drum and this throne are like the two things, and this is a Porter and Davies, like it's one with the amplifier inside.
Yep.
The butt kicker is kind of what most people. So I normally have a box and it's run through that, and I can adjust the velocity and like the decay. Like there's a bunch of stuff, but I really only need to feel because. You know Scott Quintana? He was playing with Casey Musgraves or Musgraves, and I took his out, and that's how I tested it. And his was I'm a little smaller than his, but like I hit the bass drum, and I was like, like whoa, like what is going on back here? So like I need it. Mine's much more subtle, and yeah, like it, we're a band that doesn't travel with a sub. So like I need to feel the bass drum, especially when we're playing these outdoor venues where you hit the bass drum and it's just like where to go. So
it's going directly.
It's going out there into the universe, and it'll be back next week. Yeah, but now it's coming right up the old backside. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I've been staring at this thing over here. It's super awesome, and I really want to talk about it. So can we pop over and take a look at this?
Yeah, let's go on and take a little spin with DeFord.
Cool. So we're at one of your other setups. This is the DeFord Bailey kit.
Yeah.
Talk to me about this awesome thing.
Yeah, so on the new record, we wrote a song called DeFord Rise Again, which is basically about the life and the legacy of DeFord Bailey, who's also on the bass drum. Shout out to Evans on that. They're making custom bass drum heads now. I don't know if you know that or not. You can send an image and they'll just mail it right back to you.
Very cool.
But yeah, we decided to write the song just because, like he was the first African-American member of the Opry, like one of the first early stars. And he was actually the artist that was performing when they coined the term the Grand Ole Opry.
Wow.
And so, so there's a lot of history and his legacy that's gone unnoticed and basically forgotten, So we wrote this song about, like kind of what we think happened in the 1940s when he was basically vanished from the Opry. And this is, like I stand up, I play it, I sing it, I play harmonic on it. And so that's what, and then every so often we'll, like play some other stuff in the stripped down part, and I'll play this as well. So, but that's the primary focus for this kit.
Cool. So let's talk about the size and configuration of the kick drum.
Yeah. So this is an 18-inch bass drum. I honestly don't know the depth. I bought it at Drum Supply. Like all the drum shops in town have been like really supportive of me. Like this is a band where, you might come to practice and they'll be like, oh man, like it'd be really cool if you had that. And we have rehearsal again tomorrow. So, and you're like, cool, I guess I know what I'm doing with my spare time today. So yeah, like I'm texting with Bryson at Nelson or texting with Andy at Drum Supply or Danny at Forks trying to track down. So this idea was my idea to, like create a kit. We were trying to figure out how I was going to sing D4 and play it, and not be backstage. They wanted me to be front stage. So I was like, man, I'd seen in a video somebody playing something like this, like just demoing a snare drum, but like being able to play in like a groove. And I was like, that's kind of the idea. So 18-inch bass drum, got Evans on both sides. And then, this is just a Gibraltar stand, basically the top of a snare basket going into so instead of a tom mount, you got a snare basket mount.
I mean, it all makes sense. It's
it's so
in
my
simple,
head, it was funny because like when I was trying to explain it to everybody, they were like, and I was like, just let me. So I put a couple different variations together before we landed on this. The hardest thing was finding an 18-inch bass drum. Believe it or not, Drum Supply was the only place in town that just had an 18-inch bass drum laying around. It was like, I'll throw it to you.
Because Andy has everything just
because he really does just have everything laying around in there. You can go in there for hours and not find what you're looking for, but you can find tons of other stuff. And then on your way out, you'll find what you're looking for.
I always leave with something that I don't really need. But we are so lucky as drummers in Nashville to have such cool
all of these
shops.
outlets. Because some places don't have a single
We're
one.
spoiled.
So.
We're spoiled. And I see the Evans hydraulic on the snare. What's this snare drum?
Okay, so this is a Ludwig Black Beauty. I was with them a few years ago, and this was my first purchase from them. So just a 6.5 by 14, one of the most recorded snare drums.
I was going to say that's like the workhorse.
Yeah. So it's like
Black Beauty's like, man, that's it.
If there's any Ludwig snare you should own, there's probably two, and it's this or an Acrolite, so which I'm lucky enough to own both. And then we got the hydraulic on both for, a similar sound and feel. The idea is basically to like replicate the real drums as close as possible, like being able to stand up. And then we got a 10-inch, a custom splash.
Yeah.
So, and everything's just kind of, so our front of house, or our monitor guy, Pete, he'll come and carry this out as like we're making the transition from me coming to the front and the back. And then we normally start something up real quick afterwards. So like I come straight off of this and start a song here as he's moving it away. But
so this thing is wireless, ready to go.
Yeah, it's wireless. You just pick it up with one hand like that and just lift it around. I mean, it's not that simple, but But yeah, you can go where you need to go. Wireless pack here, wireless pack for the kick. So
yeah, and you're using brushes on this.
Yeah. So these are ProMark TB5s, and when I first started playing ProMarks, like they sent me a couple different versions of brushes, and these have this like it's instead of rubber, it's almost like a foam grip, which I feel like is great for grip and absorbing moisture, because we play a lot of festivals outside and stuff like that. So, and like the spread on these, because you've got multiple angles that you can come up with. So you can go like, I like about right there, like the medium spread, but you can go the full spread too and get you like a, like if you want one or the other. But like typically when I'm playing the train beats, like I'm about right there. And then when I get done with them, you saw a pair of brushes earlier that I went to town on this week. Like they're more about like that. So
cool.
But I'm going in on this stuff, man. All this stuff, I'm just having the time of my life.
Good, man. Well, I want to hear you actually lay down a train beat, if you would oblige. I'll step out and I'd love to watch you throw down a train beat. That's it, man.
Yeah,
that's
really
awesome.
It. It's that simple. And these brushes though, I don't know, they just feel good. So
sounds great. And we're never done with you because you have all the cool toys.
Oh yeah.
Let's get over into marching drum land.
Yeah, totally.
So we're here with your marching band kit.
Yeah.
And the first obvious question is, did you play marching band?
You know what? Surprisingly, I didn't. When I was coming up, we couldn't afford you had to pay to be in band. So I didn't get to. I adapted this whole, no one can teach you to be you.
Right.
So punk rock mentality.
Yeah.
So
that's cool. So is everything happening ergonomically, just like what naturally feels good?
Yeah,
technique-wise?
It's kind of the same with the DeFord kit. I watch Drumline. I watched a lot of movies. You know what I mean? Like, what's up, Nick? So I like to think that I'm doing. I mean, if he can do it and make it look real, then like surely I can. And and I actually kind of play drums. So I was just trying to get things in place. And once again, these long arms. So to me, like, I watch a lot of videos on YouTube because like I'm, technique, like fingers, wrists, kick technique, like whatever. And like most people, like they say, you kind of want your arms to be like straight. Mm-hmm. So like that's kind of what I did. And this is, I can't take credit for any of this because this band has had Cory and Critter in the past who have come down and played drums or played, so I'm pretty sure this stuff belongs to, this is mine, but the harness and the drum itself actually belongs to Cory. This is like a 30s or 40s old school Ludwig, like super deep snare drum. And instead of going with the hydraulic, which I probably will, I put a calf tone head on it, like kind of to symbolize that old school kind of vibe and sound. So it's a little thinner when you play it. And, like we're doing, we do everything from ballad. So like I might be stirring or, we might be playing Rocky Top where I'm, like playing super, super fast for no reason. Yeah. But yeah, like this would, I mean, I just tried to make it as comfortable as possible. And, you know, as I get older, it's like we got stuff all over the set. I'm just like, it's like trying to push a baby out, or, you know, like trying to squeeze through like an hour. Yeah, or two babies in my case, so, or in my wife's case. So, but yeah, you know, like it's comfortable. So like I can sling around with it, and I get the whole sense of being in a marching band without having to have the years of actually having been in a marching band.
Hey.
So yeah.
You found the workaround.
That's right. Shout out to Nick, baby.
Cool.
Yeah.
And I know you also strap some other stuff on you throughout the set. You got a washboard. You want to take a look at that?
Yeah. Let's take a look at the washboard.
We're standing here with one of the favorite things I've ever seen you play. Yeah. I saw you bring this thing out at Red Rocks, and I was blown away at the sound. Talk to me about the infamous washboard.
So this is a Brass King washboard. I got it at what used to be the Rite Aid on Gallatin Road. Now I think it's like the Mock 8th Avenue Antique Mall, whatever. Come in there with cash and be ready to not wheel and deal. But I paid full price. I think it was like $35. But yeah, this one's really cool. This is my second washboard. The other one's a little smaller. And all the stuff, you know, like I put the wood block on there, and I put the cymbal. Once again, you go to Drum Supply, you never really know. But this is my favorite because I just learned this on this past weekend. I'd do a stroke and I'd hit it with my hand. But what I realized is I don't even have to hit it. I can hit the side, and it's even more present. Yeah. So, but what sucks is every move you make, it's not gonna do it. Normally I'm just like, I'll be playing it, it'll just be like ding 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 ding. So which it's probably a good thing that the mic's up here and not down there. But yeah, so this is I'll tell you the coolest thing about this, and I went straight super gear. I got strap locks and everything. Yeah, everything for this guy. I don't know how to work them.
Did you talk to somebody in the band? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, these are Deere.
Yeah, one of the guitar techs help you out with this.
No,
this
you know what? Surprise! Oh, there it is. I put him on myself.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I came up here one day and I was like, somebody give me a screwdriver. So.
First drummer to ever put on his own strap locks, I'm sure.
So strap locks, but it's got these wood panels through the back that kind of mutes the front a little bit. So my other washboard was a little more abrasive and kind of like a little brother.
So is that like warming up the tone?
Just kind of
dampening it almost?
Damping it a little bit. And not only mentioned, so I wear this whistle in like everything I do. Don't ask why. But yeah, I mean, sometimes you need to call a stranger or get security or, you know, so stranger
danger.
Keep kids
safe in the pool. I don't know.
That's right,
man,
yeah.
You, that
you know,
for.
Either that or you might just have to whistle at a dog one day because, you know, but that helps with when it's like resting up against my chest, you know, like it kind of keeps the back muted just a little bit so that way it's not picking, because this is one microphone that's picking up everything. So if I'm playing up here, picking up here. If I'm playing on the wood block, it's picking up here. If I'm playing that down there. So, you know, so like, of course, every time my whistle is back here, you know, like when I'm jumping around because, you know, like just imagine, like if you played a washboard, would you just stand there and play it like this?
No.
Yeah.
You got to go full tilt.
Oh, yeah. So.
And the Cymbals.
Yeah. So these are I just got on Amazon. Shout out to Amazon. I'm trying to get all the free stuff. I don't
know if they're going to send you anything,
No, they're definitely not. They might send me a letter that's like, cool, thanks, man. Your Prime membership is up for renewal. So, I just got on Amazon because I was like trying to figure out. So when I joined the band, Ketch was like, you should probably get a washboard. And I was like, all right, where do you get a washboard?
Right.
So, So first thing I did was look up the Brass King. They don't exist anymore. And then I looked online. I saw what other people were doing and were playing. Some people were playing with a brush, you know, like some people had like the super old school like bucket thimbles on, and I was like, man, that just seems like a disaster for like constantly falling off. And like I said, like I'll twirl this around my neck, you know, like I'll switch over and play on the tom with the thimble still on. So when I saw these and they're kind of like adjustable, it seemed like it made sense. And these are like less than $10 on Amazon.
Yeah, so those kind of squeeze on like like one of those old kind of boot rings.
Exactly. So it's like fit for your pleasure, like whatever size that you want to choose, you know, like choose your own adventure more or less. So if you want very limited circulation in your fingers, go tighter.
Cool.
So yeah.
Dig it.
So This is old Woody.
Cool. You're getting a really cool percussive sound out of this. And
well, once again, it goes back to that whole blend. You know, like I'm just trying to. I had somebody ask me the other night, like, "Man, that's so cool. You don't see washboards. Like, how long have you been playing washboard?" And I was like, "I don't know, like 2.5, 3 years." How long I've been in the band? You know, like I was just. Most people know me as just the dude with the white glass and the dreadlocks that just plays drums, and you know, like that was my thing for so long. So so with this, you know, like I found a pattern. Once again, we get back to that bluegrass world where you're just trying to fit in and sit in and blend with everything that's going on. So I found multiple patterns that I can play when we're doing, and this comes out for the fiddle tunes. You know, like I'm not playing this on Paint This Down like a rock song or you know, like one of the heavier tunes. So this is, you know, like basically me keeping up, you know, like and just creating some time and some rhythmic fun for everybody. Yeah,
it's kind of the bridge between what Old Crow does and the old-timey music to kind of respect the bluegrass, which, you know, traditionally didn't have drums. Is this like kind of your compromise to kind of have the rhythmic thing going on?
Yeah, well that, and it, you know, like we want moments in the show where like, you know, like they were just, even before they started tinkering with drums, they were just a string band. So everybody was all in the front line on stage, you know, like this is my my access to being able to be up there with them as well as playing the mandolin, which, you know, like sometimes I do on songs. So like I can get up there and we can create that old school, Old Crow experience for, you know, for the old fan that, you know, that's the Old Crow that they're familiar with.
That's awesome.
So, and keep it entertaining for the new Old Crow fan. I mean, it's something for everybody. Brass King.
That's very cool. And I know you're not even done there with percussion. You
play
some cool bones
man, I got all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, can we take a look at the bones?
Yeah, let's look at the bones.
Right. Cool. So we're with the bones.
Yeah.
This is another crazy idea that's thrown at you.
Yeah. So this was the other the initial conversation I had with Ketchy was like get a washboard and maybe some bones. So like the first set of bones I got were these really awful bones on eBay, and they were made of wood and they were like this thick and they like completely just annihilated in between my fingers. So yeah, Moonlight as a hand model.
Oh yeah.
So beautiful. Yeah, you know, lots of veins. There's some people out there that like veins. So, but yeah, so through being in this old time community, you know, like Dom Flemons is like the master and like he's the man. Like he probably wouldn't say it himself because I know he learned from somebody else. But like if you're paying attention in the old time community, like he's the dude that's out there like really like keeping this going. Okay. And so you'll see some other people and like I obviously do it, but you know, like when I first started playing, like I didn't really understand what I was doing because it's not like sticks where you can, and that's where my mind was, right. But it kind of is, you know, so like you can do doubles, you know, triplet, and then there's can I get it? There it is, the 4-roll. And that's that took hard. So, you know, like in his whole approach, it's like, so once you got one hand, then add the other one in there, and then, you know, start playing. You know, start playing patterns and add them together. So, like, that's kind of one pattern I play. So, just something fun, and once again, this is kind of more for the stripped down set. Right. So we'll all gather around one mic and kind of the whole show to me is it's like taking you on a roller coaster of, you know, like country music, past, present, future, you know, like for this band in a sense, you know. So we strip it down, we get down around one mic like they would do in the back in the old days at the Opry, and then you know, like we do the front line. And then like, and then we're a full band. So, which is a lot of changes that this band has been, any band that, you know, has been a band for 20 years. So, yeah, I'm just, once again, shout out to Dom because like he took man, he put some work into me, like, cause this did not come natural and I still don't really know what I'm doing, but I know the wrist movements from, you know, playing drums. So like, it's really similar. I'd love to see Dom play drums. I wonder if he can. Because, like, like, it's the stuff that he's able to do, and, like, he's such a showman. Like, he kind of walks up, and he's like, the next thing you know, he's like, you know, like, and you're like, what? You don't know what to look at. You don't know where to go. So, but he's the one that taught me that, the 4 and the triplet, you know, like, but forever I was trying to keep up with them, like,
Just trying to, yeah, right.
You know, like, and it's just like, that just sounds like noise. Like, it just sounds like somebody like tapping a trash can. It's just like, you know, like Ketchup would be like, play the bones there. And it'd be like, please don't make me.
Well, it's kind of like with the snare, you're playing the bounce and you can kind of get some of the tension in the wrist to kind of get those.
Yeah. And like with these, you know, like it's kind of like, it's its own technique, but the principle is kind of similar because like the loose and the more relaxed you are, you can get that. Like you can't get that 4 note if your hand super tight. You'll only get that one. So this hand is tight, pressed up against. This hand is super loose, letting them hang. And it's just like, I mean, that's a single stroke right there. It's just open, close, open, close, open, close, back and forth. So, but yeah, that's and these are Steve Brown's signature bones. He's out of Massachusetts. So, you know, so like I said, once I found out more about what I was doing, I was like, Dom, are bones supposed to make your hands hurt because I'm bleeding a little bit? And he was like, no, you need to get a real pair. So he gave me this pair, which were also Steve Brown's. These are like an earlier model. And then I reached out to Steve himself and he made me this pair. So he made me this pair and a cedar pair, which also kind of, man, when it's humid outside, you know, like we were in Texas a couple weeks ago, and it was average about 99 degrees every day. We're playing 2 hours outside. You know, like it's very easy for even these, you know, like that have like a finish on it to like really start to get stuck in your hand from all the moisture and the humidity. So like when I was doing that with the cedar ones, like not only were they like kind of slipping out of my hand sometimes, but they were definitely like rubbing my fingers a little bit. And then what I've also noticed for the married men out there is that you'll have a permanent blister on your finger where your wedding ring is completely smushed up against that finger for life. So cool. Thanks, Amy.
And what are these bones made out of?
Most bones are like cow bones. So like a cow rib bone is what most of them are made out of. I attempted to make my own. I wouldn't recommend it. Man. I was leaving bone dust all over the house, man. I ain't never gotten more arguments with my wife. They're like, are you really going to play on the couch? You please don't play on the couch. Like this, it's so gross. And I'd like get up and it'd just be like all over me. And I'm like this is like dead animal bone. Yeah, like that's what's happening in the house right now. This is effing gross. So, do
they have a finish or a lacquer?
So like there's a like I want to say it's a lacquer. So when I made my own, I put polyurethane, and it just like trashed them. Like they sounded so bad, and I cut them myself. Like I didn't know what I was doing. I just knew I was like, all right, I need some cow rib bones, and it's not important where I got them, but I soaked them in a bucket of bleach for like a week, and then I cut them up and. So like, you know, for a professional like Steve, it was probably nothing to make, you know, like a person who makes, you know, like hundreds of these in a month. It was probably nothing for him to make them. But for me, it was a whole month-long process to make basically a bag of garbage.
To make a bag of trash. Well, this is a super unique thing. Yeah. Very, really cool percussive element.
As you can see, like it's, you know, so like not only... I mean, I've never been able to say this. I'm a multi-instrumentalist and a band full of multi-instrumentalists. Like, you know, it's exciting. I enjoy watching the show just as much as I enjoy playing in it because, like, you know, like I'll be playing drums and I'll watch Cory move from banjo to piano. I'll watch Mike move from guitar to dobro. You know, like I'll watch Mason move from guitar to mandolin. I watch Ketch play harmonica and play fiddle at the same time. Like it's, you know, and then the next song, everybody will completely change and do something else. You know, like I'll be standing up front all of a sudden on a washboard and, you know, Cory will be playing the melodica and, you know, and Ketch will be playing the 12-string. Like, it's just, to me, like, it's a band of nonstop surprises. And I feel like that, for me, is what keeps it fun and entertaining. I also don't like to be bad at anything, which makes it really tough living at my house. Yeah,
so level of competition in the band that's keeping it moving.
Well, like, I just know, you know, like, it's the not letting your fellow brother down, you know what I mean? Like, you know, I call them bros on stage, Brother Secor and Brother Janning, Brother Vibe, Brother Harris, Brother Johnson, and like that, because like that, you know, like that means something to me as far as, you know, like when I get on that stage, like I'm gonna cover them to the best of my ability. And, you know, like even though, you know, like my talent wise is kind of limited at some of these things, you know, like, I mean, I think if I told somebody I'd only been playing the bones for like 3 years, like, you'd probably believe me, but like maybe not, because like it's really not an easy thing to play, you know, like, and I'll walk around before the shows and kind of play these a little bit, and people would be like, whoa, like how long did it take you to learn that? And I'm like, 2.5, 3 years,
Yeah.
you know, but really like a year. Like you can't really count the pandemic because I was just sitting in front of a TV, like trying to do, and it wasn't until I started working with Dom that I was like, oh, so this is what, like, I had the muscles, I didn't know how to use them.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, you know, like I grew up playing in punk bands, you know, like playing in rock bands, and I started playing Americana around 2009, and there was a lot of changes that had to happen.
Yeah.
So yeah, I played loud and played hard.
You quickly advanced to being the second nominated drummer ever.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. What's funny is Jay Bellerose was the first, and I'm pretty sure he played on an Outtro record. So, yeah, that, you know, the Americana world has embraced me at certain points throughout my career, and you know, like we figure it out as we go. But I'd never been nominated for anything, so of course it meant the world to me to, you know, like to be acknowledged, or for someone to acknowledge, you know, the things that I was doing, you know, like on a pure level, you know, like. All the nights, you know, I'm sure you can sympathize with this. You're playing, you're looking, and you don't know what's going on out there. Like, you only know what's going on in here. Like, I can't speak for anybody else on the stage, but, you know, like, the whole time I'm just like, I hope that this is connecting with whoever it needs to connect with. You know, like, whoever needs to feel something right now, or, you know, like, whoever is trying to understand something I'm doing, like, even if I just smile at somebody and, like, you know, like, and they smile back, it's like, it's all, like, we're all doing this together. It's a, you know, like, it's a joint venture. Like, imagine if you showed up for a show and no one was there.
Right.
Like, that'd be weird.
It's happened.
So, yeah. Oh, man. It's happened so many times. That's why.
It might happen again. I
never had a drinking problem, but that's why I stopped drinking, because, man, people sure didn't used to show up back when I was playing in my prog band back in the day. But, you know. But, you know, things change, and you grow up, you make the changes you need to, and yeah, and like, you know, you go down a road where, you know, like you go from looking for records when you pull into a shop for looking for washboards and weird percussive stuff. Yeah. So,
well, it's an incredible ethos that you have to do what's right for the song, and that's led you to so many cool percussive elements. Cool, intricate, and very simple at the same time setups. Yeah. And it makes who you are, man, which is Jerry Pentecost of Old Crow Medicine Show.
I appreciate it.
And I'm Jarrad James with the Drum Rundown. We'll see you on the next one.